Fitness Fridays. I'm back. Got a chance to take a little vacation time and now back at the regular flow of life, this included. And so I'll probably sprinkle in a little bit of trip-related things, but ultimately excited to be back and continuing this series. I know we've been talking about mental fitness versus mental health, and we've gone over two different sections of that. One, right, proactive versus reactive, and the other one, enhancement versus maintenance. And now we're going to get more into this how portion. And today's is going to be the ability to be intentional with curiosity, right? I love that, right? You hear it at the end of my podcast when I say it: be curious, stay curious, without judgment. I think the curiousness is a key part of staying intentional. Now, intention, right, has to do with this idea of purpose. You are moving towards an outcome, a goal, and you're breaking that down. And I think one of the things I hear as far as getting stuck or overwhelmed in the mental health portion of things is when you don't feel like you have options, that things are so out of your control. And granted too, you can be dealing with so much in the mental health world, from the high levels of anxiousness to the lowest of depressions. And when feeling those, overwhelm is natural. The practice though of mental fitness, I believe, can allow you to find a little more option. And that's where intention kicks in. Intention being, you are going to find an outcome or a goal, and you're going to be able to move more towards it. And as you do that, you're going to stay curious with it, not judge those intentions. Like, I was supposed to do this today, and I didn't do that. And that leads me to saying, oh, I can't do anything. And that can't do anything means I'm never going to be able to do anything. That can really accelerate high levels of anxiousness, the low levels of depression. You can forget what it is that you've actually done if you get to take a chance to break and be intentional versus the stuck in the reaction. And so that's what, right, the mental fitness piece I think can really come down to is finding a little bit more control amidst life that can feel so out of control. So let's get down into some of the nitty gritty, right? The reality of it, some examples as we're talking about intention. One thing I mentioned, the vacation piece, right? So vacation was really cool trip that we got to do a road trip to Yellowstone with the family, but that included a truck and a trailer. We're in the California area, right? Driving out to Yellowstone, Wyoming with a truck and trailer. One thing I realized is it's helpful to be intentional, right? It's helpful to plan a little bit farther ahead than maybe what you might think as driving somewhere. Like, one of the big ones is gas stations. Now, I realize, right, truck and trailer means you are pulling something that is long. So you need space. You need space to move around. You need space to maneuver. You need space to be able to have an easy pull in and an easy out. Now, I remember there was one gas station that I did not find that. And I had to be a lot more reactionary than I wanted to. Like okay, pull up here. Okay, got to back up here. Pull up, back up. Pull, right back and forth until I was able to eventually make my way out. I'll put out another one, right? One that really hits me in the current stage of life I'm in. And that's as a dad. I've got two young kids, 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. And one of the things I find myself is being reactive, trying my best, right? I'm going to throw that out there, doing the best I can. But there is a plenty of reaction that is happening. And what I think about in the intention part is being able to take care of myself in the best ways that I can. Sometimes that's getting in workout piece. Sometimes that's getting some space as best as I can. And it's a partnership, right, as well, at least for me. I'm in that spot where I get to be able to partner as a parent. And so a lot of it has to do in the intention piece is combining that intention, like those thoughts, like, hey, let's try to make some food ahead of time, right? Being intentional about that. That helps to save the morning stress of packing all kinds of lunches, right? To the thought process of I'm doing the best I can and my kids are doing the best that they can. Like when you find letters on the wall and you realize that's not my writing, and you start to question your kids and finding out that, in a moment, right, they decided that writing on the wall was a good thing. And here I am about to explode, about to be reactionary, about to say, what are you doing? That is not what we do. And having to break that a little bit and having to be a little bit more curious and tell myself I'm doing the best I can and they are doing the best they can. And maybe giving myself a chance to ask the question, so tell me what happened here, and being able to hear a little bit more information on what happens. Then getting a chance to clean it, right? And then you're able to move forward from there. But really, this idea of intention, I think, has power. I think it can be empowering. It can bring more of that control in the midst of feeling out of control. It can lessen that overwhelm when you can find a few of these options, especially when you're feeling stuck. And so I encourage that intention with curiousness. You gotta bring the curiousness. You gotta bring the curiousness, which includes questions, and it also includes self-kindness. I'm doing the best I can, not the harsh criticism and judgment. So I'm gonna leave you with that as far as the concepts. The last bit here that I wanted to share, though, is how. Let's get a practice in there. Let's get a technique. And one of them that I'm gonna share is being intentional about how you can start your day. Morning routine, building the ideal morning, right? I think for me, that's been something that I've been trying recently. How I've built that has been gathering information and then trying, right? Being curious about what works here for me. Because an ideal morning is not the same for everyone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post up, take a look. I'm going to post up an article that gives 21 tips on an ideal morning. And I encourage you to try 1 to 3. And as you try either 1 to 3 of these things, stay curious about it without judgment. As you hear judgment, I encourage you to go, I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. If it needs to get into, I'm enough. Include that as well. I'm enough. And as you try them, it could be something like, I'm going to drink a glass of water this morning. Okay, give that a shot. I'm going to not hit my snooze button. That's a tough one. I encourage it. Give it a shot. It could be, I'm going to do a breathing technique. I'm going to do a walk, an exercise, some movement. Choose 1 to 3 of those and let me know how it goes. I want to hear. Whether it's feedback here, feedback on my website, feedback in YouTube or in podcast platforms, let me know how this goes for you. And so with that, we'll wrap that up. You got yourself intention with curiousness, and you got your technique, the ideal morning, right? Take a look at the tips that are there and choose 1 to 3. And that's it. Give them a shot. Try that for 10 days. I'm going to throw that out there as well. I don't know if you remember, but in a previous podcast I did with Dr. Carolyn Smith, we talked about 10 days, making sure that you get that out there for 10 days to see if this is something that works. All right. Well, I look forward to the next episode coming up. We're going to talk more about mental fitness versus mental health. There'll also be some guests that are going to be joining us soon. So keep your eyes out for that one. And also in August, we're going to be starting up that Facebook group. More chance to share, to increase dialogue, and to share tips and techniques of mental fitness. So I'm looking forward to that. That being said, stay curious, be curious, without judgment. Until next time. Thank you for joining us on this transformative journey through mental fitness stories with John Steele. If you resonated with today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a review on your podcast platform of your choice. Remember, your story is important, and so is your mental well-being. If you have a personal mental fitness journey you'd like to share or topics you'd like us to explore in future episodes, reach out to us on social media or through our website. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations, expert insights, and practical tips to help you cultivate a resilient mind. Until next time, take care of your mind, nurture your inner dialogue, and prioritize your self-care. Remember, you are not alone, and your mental fitness and well-being is worth the investment. Thanks for being a part of the Mental Fitness Stories community.